Okay, let's look at algebra just briefly. It seems to really put the fear of God into people. This it needn't be that difficult. In fact, it's not that difficult. Remember that mathematicians, engineers, people that work with numbers a lot are often quite lazy. If there's any way to shorten writing things down, they'll take these shortcuts. So, for instance, if you had 6 apples and someone gave you 3 more apples, you would have 9 apples. Mathematicians would write A equals apples, and 6 apples plus 3 apples equals 9 apples. That's the whole of that sentence that I've spoken in English will be condensed down to that. Okay, so it's quite lazy. Let's look at it. You've already come across algebra in the past with numbers like pi. So for instance, pi equals 3.142, which is correct to 3 decimal places if you round. It's actually equal to 3.1415927. It just keeps carrying on, it never repeats. So it's up to you as a user to kind of determine where you want to truncate it, right? So a lot of people just round it here and get this number, which is fine. But wherever there's a choice, in terms of user choice, in terms of your preference, a symbol has to be used because this implies that the number it represents is variable. So in this case, pi could be rounded to any degree of precision that you like. So for instance, if I measure the length of this room, I could say the length L equals 10 metres. The length of the room that you're in won't equal 10 metres, likely. It'll vary. So wherever a dimension or a distance or a number can vary, algebra has to be used. So you'll be familiar with other ones. Diameter, there's a symbol for diameter or diameter. Length, width, depth, that kind of thing. Engineers will know lowercase sigma for stress, A for area, that kind of thing, P pressure or whatever. It's just a case of that many letters have been used up in the English language. Mathematicians have then had to go into the Greek alphabet and borrow from that, because there's just that many things that need representing. So I suppose that's one question I was going to ask is why not just write the number? Why use a symbol at all? And the answer is, of course, because it represents a variable, something that will change. Now you have to write something, so a letter is the next best thing. Now letters can be used to represent, of course, relationships between numbers. So for instance, let me clean this. Equations are always written, like 2x plus 3y equals whatever. In this case, x could be one object, y could be another amount of money from something else. These are different variables. But really, it boils down to this setup. Usually, the person carrying out the equation, or if you're at school, you'll not be told what the equation is, you'll just be expected to work it out. That's because it's testing your problem-solving skills. Whereas when you get more advanced into it, these equations actually do come from somewhere, they actually mean something. But at the moment, if you're at a lower level of learning, you don't need to worry about what they mean, knowing though that they do mean something to someone down the line. Now, the real trick for algebra is there's something called substitution, which is, let's say A equals 1, B equals 2. You might be given a formula, A plus B equals what? Well, in this situation, you just substitute. So A is 1 plus B is 2. That equals 3. So the final answer here is C, or 3. Let's say we'll change that to C. C equals 3. That's about as terrifying as algebra can be if you just switching stuff out, substitution. Right? Now, for an exercise for you, I'm going to put on screen some examples for you to solve. So just pause the video and have a look at those examples.